holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Thanks to Mike Patel, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp for keeping us looking pretty and on the ones and twos. Loaded show for 2 hours. Tons of Saints-Jags reaction. I think a really positive night for the New Orleans Saints last night. We'll talk about that in the next segment. A lot of stuff came from that preseason game number 2, as you might expect. We'll talk a little bit about LSU's quarterbacks later in this hour. Gerard Landry, former Southern wide receiver, former NFL player, also the brother of Jarvis Landry, is going to jump aboard here to close out hour number 1. We'll finish up Meet the Freshmen, our last 2 on the list in the second hour. I want to talk about some rookie quarterbacks in the NFL as well, those landing spots. Some huge college football news coming here in about 2 hours. We want to get to that in hour number 2 as well. But the news of the day, Jeremy, comes from LSU, and it's where we're going to start today. As LSU released a statement today, I'll read some excerpts from it. With the significant threat presented by COVID-19 across the state of Louisiana due to the highly transmissible Delta variant, LSU will require all Tiger Stadium guests 12 years of age and older to provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 PCR test taken within 72 hours prior to entry of the stadium. The decision comes after consultation and support from Governor John Bel Edwards, LSU President William F. Tate IV, the LSU Board of Supervisors, the Tiger Athletic Foundation, and Director of Athletics Scott Woodward. Later down in the segment, it says, to gain entry into Tiger Stadium, guests 12 and older must show proof of at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine that has full approval or emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration or World Health Organization, a vaccination card, a photo or photocopy of a vaccination card, or verified digital proof of vaccination, including the LA Wallet, or another government-sanctioned mobile app that will be accepted with entry granted upon visual inspection. Those who have not received a dose of COVID-19 must present digital or hard copy of a digital PCR test. So you get that point. The last piece is that children between the ages of 5 and 11 will be required to wear masks in the stadium. Masks will be encouraged for those 4 and under. So, all that being said, basically what this says is to come in to watch LSU play football this year, we need proof that you've been vaccinated or at least have a dose, or you have to give us a PCR test from the last 72 hours. It's a long-winded way of going about saying it, but that's what the result is. And I've gotten texts. The internet's blowing up on Twitter and Facebook and message boards. It's everyone's abuzz over this. But these are the rules that they've come to. And I think there are the two sides of this that are the loudest are, one, it's about time not having 100,000 people in Tiger Stadium with no masks in a state that's got hospitals that are overflowing is terrible. That's one loud and saying that thank God. And the other side is saying this is wrong. You can't force me to do anything. This is political. And those are the two loudest voices in the room. Yeah. I currently don't have either one of those voices. That's not where I am. And I've been lucky in my eyes in the last 10 years where I've come on these airwaves and talked about sports. And that's been just about it. Because I'm a guest who covers the team or works for the network, and that's what we talk about. What is the left tackle going to do against this pass rush? Who's the backup quarterback? What's the kicking game look like? Those are the things that I've been brought on to talk about. Now we sit in this chair and we've got an obligation to talk about some things that I don't really want to talk about, this being one of them. But it's the news of the day, and it's something we're going to talk about. So we're going to open the show with it. Jeremy, when you saw this, what was your initial reaction?
I wasn't shocked at all. After you saw the Saints make that move first to kind of lead the state, I knew other programs and other universities are going to probably follow that suit. And I think if you ask me, I'm not as extreme as each side. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I think it's better for the players. I think it's better for everyone going to the events. I think everyone saw last year how much we missed those packed stadiums, how much the players miss it, how much everyone just wanted to tailgate and be around their friends and family. So I think getting that back is just good for Baton Rouge in general. But I also think, too, that the virus isn't going anywhere and it's still spreading and people are still, passing away So it's something that's still going on, but I think, people want to go to the games, and you can't stop people from doing that.
Pick what's important to you. If your safety and well-being is the most important thing, paramount over risk, and you want to stay home and watch LSU on TV, great. Stay home and watch LSU on TV. Every game will be on there. If the most important thing to you is getting in that stadium and watching the Tigers play, and you're not vaccinated, so you think I need to get that vaccine to make things easier, go do that. Or if you want to go and schedule a Thursday every 4 o'clock on Thursday, when you want to go to a game, you're going to go get a test and it come up negative, go do that. Or if you're in the camp that says this is infringing upon my rights as a person, this is unacceptable, I refuse to support it, I'm not going to show up, you can do that too. None of that drives me insane. I fall in the camp that the most important thing to me is watching the game. Do I want to wear a mask? No, I don't really want to wear a mask. But if they tell me I have to wear a mask and present a proof of vaccination or get a test on Thursday, that's what I'm going to do. And I got on the other side of that when my wife and I had tickets to a concert 3 weeks ago. And the numbers started rising, and she's pregnant and wasn't comfortable with it, and I didn't want to wear a mask to go to this concert. And we didn't go. We had spent some money on it, and we just said, we're not going. Because it wasn't worth it to us. It wasn't to see that act was not worth it to Alyssa to risk maybe getting COVID or me getting COVID and her have to miss work when she's about to have paternity leave. And it wasn't worth it to me to hear the act to go put a mask on and have her fret about it. So we didn't. And LSU football doesn't fall in that category for me. I'm going to the game. And I can follow these rules and regulations. Do I love it? No. Do I wish we were back in the exact same world that we were in 2 years ago? Yes, I do. We're not. And so this is disappointing on a level for me. But to me personally, I'm okay with playing by the rules as they sit right now. I'm by nature a rule follower. I've been that way my entire life. And I don't like them all. But if it doesn't drive me up the wall like this doesn't, I'm going to do it. And the other thing that doesn't necessarily apply to me, because I get off the air 30 minutes before kickoff and I can't be there early. But the other thing is, if you told me, it's going to take longer to get in, just going to have to go 30 minutes early, like, I'll do that too. It's not my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing to sit in traffic, but I did that too for years after games because it's important for me to watch the game. So you just got to decide what's important to you and whether following these rules and regulations is something that you're willing to do. And if not, we'll see you next year. And if it is, we're going to get in the stadium. But I'm just happy that as of right this second, we're going to get 100,000 in there, and we'll just have to do it this way.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. I think a lot of people will go to sleep a lot safer knowing that the 500 or 100 people they were around definitely had a negative COVID test at least a couple of days before. Just going into that environment, that many people in that small area, I think it's just, the virus is going to spread. So getting the negative test, I think, is probably the best option that the state had to come up with. And like you said, if you don't want to get tested, if you don't want to take the COVID test, then you don't have to go to the game. You can watch it on TV. It's not the end of the world.
This will be the most, opinionated thing I say in the segment. And, it's going to probably drive some people crazy, and some people will kind of agree, and some people will be indifferent to the entire thing. But my thoughts are, there is no perfect way to do this. We've got a virus on our hands that is affecting people, and some people it doesn't affect. If it's going to continue to spread, and that's an issue. And are masks perfect? No. Is a vaccine perfect? No. Does vaccine stop things? No. Do we have a perfect amount of time to get the vaccine? None of it's perfect. I don't have a perfect solution for any of you. And unfortunately, as I preface this entire segment with, someone's going to be irritated no matter what we do. Some people would be very uncomfortable with the fact that in their state, 100,000 people were jamming up in there with no masks and no proofs of vaccine or no negative tests. That would irritate some people. Some people are irritated that they're having to get a vaccine or get a test. You can't please everyone. And if you're in the group that's disappointed with this, that sucks. I'm not thrilled about it either, but I'm thrilled that we get to watch and play football. That's, to me, the most important thing. So that's the news of the day. We talked about this off the air. This is a first for us to get on and kind of talk about something that has some people up in arms and is not, who's the quarterback going to be? Is this Miles Brennan or Max Jones? Like, that's not a real argument. This is a real argument because it involves political figures and people in positions of power in the university and our state. And the thing that we love so much is tailgating and going to these football games. And we don't have a super strong stance, and that's something that irritates people too. That if you don't don't plant your flag in the ground and yell about one side or the other, you must not be correct. I just don't have that strong an opinion on it either way. So we're going to talk sports the rest of the show. We got another hour and 50 minutes of talking sports. So let's take a time out. Let's come back. Let's talk about what I thought personally was a really, really positive night in the Superdome last night. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, motor and flooring. Visit VIP Surface Concepts at VIPSurfaceConcepts.org to learn more. That's VIP Surface Concepts.
Whoa, I had a bad dream the other night.
Can't be worse than mine. I was buried up to my neck in the desert, surrounded by an army of prairie dogs, and their leader rides up.
Rides?
Yep, it's Yul Brenner, and he orders me to eat this huge mound of candy corn. So all the prairie dogs line up and feed it to me piece by piece. I'll never look at that Halloween confectionery the same again. What about you?
Well, I dreamed I forgot to schedule my annual general inspection at AGCO, and my car left me stranded on I-10.
Now that's scary.
AGCO Automotive is here with the best way to keep up with car maintenance. Get our annual general inspection. You pick the month, we check out your vehicle and recommend any maintenance you may need, which can save you costly repairs down the road.
That was a freaky dream. Were you on medication, or did you eat anything strange?
Yeah, I actually ate a whole bag of candy corn left over from Halloween 2014.
Oh.
Schedule your general inspection today at AGCO Automotive. AGCO, it's the place to go.
Hi, this is Coach Skip Bertman. As I've seen in sports and in life, injuries happen. When I have aches and pains, I go to the best. I choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy. Excellent clinicians who evaluate my body and begin a treatment plan tailored to my specific needs. They know the body and how it works. Board-certified experts in the field of physical therapy who help you get back in the game of life. Remember, choose Peak.
Pizza Artista, next to Sprouts on Perkins, is the newest and best option in gourmet pizzas. With the largest selection of ingredients, Pizza Artista is perfect for carnivores, vegans, or vegetarians. Experience Pizza Artista. Experience amazing.
Hey, Baton Rouge, it's Peter Burns. Join me and Katie George every Sunday morning at 6 for Best Week Ever right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Big night last night, I thought. Preseason football is not for everyone. Some people like to throw a few nickels down on it. That's a degenerate play, but I support it if that's your thing. And a lot of times it's just overreaction season. It's not it's not generally the first 22 on 11 on 11. Some guys are down, they're injured, they're not practicing. You got some veterans, we're trying some things. The vanilla defense at times. Like there are issues with overreacting to preseason games. I think anyone would admit that. But I also think last night was big for the Saints. I thought Jameis Winston played very strong in those 3 drives that he was out there. Stretched the field a little bit, hit some deep balls, read the defense as well, had some good touch. The accuracy was good. And he went out there and threw the door shut on the quarterback competition to me. Now, you can't do that just in one game. You've got all these practices and you've got all these other things that are going to be evaluated. But he was the guy with the inside track the whole time, and he handled himself last night the way that the starting quarterback should do it. And I think with that ushered in the Jameis Winston era as the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. How long that era is going to last, we'll see. But I thought it started last night.
Yeah, that's what I expected. That's kind of every time I came up here this summer, that's what I was saying. I was like, Jameis has thrown for 30 touchdowns, almost 5,000 yards in the season in NFL. Those guys don't just come off trees. That's hard to come by, obviously with 30 interceptions as well. But the positive side, you kind of saw the flashes and the potential of what he can do. And I think this offensive line is probably the best offensive line he'll ever play with. And you saw last night, if they give him time, he can throw the ball accurately down the field. And he has a really big arm, especially watching Drew Brees throw deep balls. And then you see Jameis, you can really kind of see the difference and really how much he can really open up this offense. And obviously without Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara out there, it really lets you see if Jameis can get rolling and take care of this football, this team can actually be a lot better than people give them credit for.
You could see very obviously the difference between Jameis in this game behind the first offensive line with Armstead and Ramczyk, as opposed to the second line he played with last week and the one that Taysom Hill stepped behind last night. It's worlds different. And this is, by some, the best offensive line in football. And they played well behind, in front of Jameis last night. He had some time, stepped up, hit the deep balls. And then I thought the second touchdown pass to Callaway, while the headline was Callaway making the unbelievable one-handed catch, they showed it, and Greasy draws it up, and the Jaguars come on a little blitz. And Jameis reads he's got a guy coming free that's going to be unblocked. He's got to get rid of it on the hot. Now, it looked like he had somebody on the top of the screen there on a shorter route, but he wanted to give Callaway, the guy who's playing best wide receiver on the team, a one-on-one opportunity, which was there. He floated it right to the goal line. Callaway makes a play on the ball. Touchdown. It was perfectly executed by the Saints from the offensive line to the quarterback to his pre-snap read to his read of the defense to his throw and then to the great catch. It was all perfect.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal play. And I think you watch quarterbacks try to throw the ball into the little bucket in the end zone. That's that drill right there. Jameis put that ball where only Callaway could get it. And that's kind of how you want your go balls thrown, especially as a receiver. Put the ball right there. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. The defensive back has no chance of intercepting it. And I think Jameis is really coming into his own with this offense. He looked super confident in the pocket last night. At times, Taysom didn't look as comfortable. He was kind of running around a little bit, obviously, with the second line. But Jameis looks comfortable. And I think, like you said, I think he's really won this quarterback competition.
I've been critical of the Jameis Winston acquisition and what I think of him as a quarterback to this point. I think that he's shown a lot of immaturity and just a leadership style that I certainly couldn't get on board with. Now, keep in mind, I'm well aware he's not trying to appeal to me, the 33-year-old insurance agent who's never played competitive football outside of middle school. I'm aware of that. I have a little self-awareness. However, if you're going to do it at Florida State, you're going to do it big, sounded weird. The eat the W was weird. the jumping on the table at Florida State at lunch and yelling the expletives was weird. He just, to me, has always seemed a little bit weird. However, I will say this. The way he's handled the interview sessions this fall camp has been, I think, impressive, joking with the media members. He's certainly made a commitment to change his body, to lose weight, and to give it a shot. And then I think what cannot be overlooked is what he did in taking a one-year deal with the Saints to sit on the bench. Not everybody will do that, and he did. All those decisions he's made have looked mature, more mature to me. And while my approval means nothing, I have observed this guy for now, 7-8 years. It looks like he's changed a little bit for the better to me.
Yeah, I think I first started noticing that last year. I think it was the end of the season. He had an interview, and they were talking about Drew Brees, and he started crying and broke down. And he kind of just was explaining how much Drew meant to him and how much he's helped him in that 1 year. And I was like, a guy like that, obviously number 1 overall pick, national championship, probably made a lot of money so far to get impacted by someone that's from a whole different era and generation than you. That means a lot, and I think he's really carried that on to this season, and he's really matured. I think if he's going to be the number 1 quarterback on this roster, he's going to have to be the team leader, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if we want Mike Thomas being the leader, so I think Jameis is really coming on as that role.
Fair little shot there. I hear you. Let's talk about wide receiver, because Marquez Callaway has been really the star of Saints preseason, even more so than Jameis Winston, who's going to win that job. Marquez Callaway has emerged at practice. We heard his name every time we had somebody on, whether it was Luke Johnson, Sharif Ishak, anybody has mentioned him and how well he's played in practice. And then he showed out in the games. The tremendous first drive with Taysom Hill in the opener, and then last night, excellent work, getting open, making catches, and really becoming what's going to be the second receiver option on this team. And it's amazing what Sean Payton and this organization have done with less heralded wide receiver prospects. Now, Mike Thomas became an all-pro as a high pick. We know that. But you start talking about some of the other high picks, Kenny Stills and Robert Meacham and some of these guys that they've taken that haven't panned out or were shipped out of town for attitude reasons. And then you start looking at guys they've kind of picked up off the scrap heap, whether it's late-round draft picks or free agents. Callaway fits into the group, but of course Marcus Colston, who I contend was a nice wide receiver, who will now have his name in the rafters in the Superdome because of the system that he was placed in. Did he probably deserve to get on a Pro Bowl roster? Probably. I would say yeah. But was he ever a top 5 receiver in the NFL? I don't think so. They made him into that because of the offense and how friendly it is to wide receivers and how accurate Drew Brees was for that. I think if Marcus Colston plays his career in Miami or in Cleveland, you never hear from him. I think the same thing of Lance Moore. What was Lance Moore's great characteristic? He wasn't that big. He wasn't that fast. He wasn't, super strong. He just he fit in this offense. Then he tried to leave. He didn't do anything. Jimmy Graham was not a guy that was expected to come in and be a star. He became one of the most productive tight ends ever for a short period of time because of this offense. And then Willie Snead's another name that no one would have ever thought of, and they went and grabbed him, and he was productive for this team. It's amazing how the Saints can identify some of these guys and plug them into their offense, and Callaway looks like he's next up.
Yeah, that's every guy we've interviewed so far. We've asked who the guy was, and they keep saying Callaway. And he showed last night why. He kind of had a couple plays in the first preseason game, but last night kind of showed why he's going to be the number 1 receiver, why Mike Thomas is out. And he has so much potential, and I think Sean Payton is going to find ways to unlock this kid, really give him the ball, because he's going to be our best receiving option other than Kamara. So I see him getting a lot of catches and a lot of targets to start this season.
And to that point, like if you run a kickoff back in a preseason game, that's going to catch everybody's eye. Wow, look at the playmaking. But you ran one kickoff back. If you're out there every single practice making catches, then you go into the first preseason game, you're wide open making catches and moving the ball down the field in the first drive, and then you come back and do it again in spectacular fashion in the second game. This is now not like, oh, what can you do? Like, oh, you can. No, this is what you are doing. You're seeing it every single day, and I think that's been the most impressive thing for him.
Yeah. Marcus Callaway has definitely showed up, and I think Coach Payton deserves so much more credit. Just hearing people talk about this team, and they say just the lack of receiving weapons, the lack of weapons at tight end, obviously the quarterback issues. That offense looked good last night. Obviously, it wasn't a real game. Obviously, it wasn't 4 quarters. But if you watch that offense in the first quarter and that second quarter, you think they've been finely tuned and really been running for years at a time now. And that's kind of what you want to see. You kind of want to be, coming into your own heading into week 1. And I think that's what the Saints are doing. So I'm a lot more confident in the Saints than I was before, just seeing that they have a real quarterback and get that offense moving. I think they can be a little better than I thought.
And there's some things I like on the defensive side as well. Maybe not as certain, but you feel pretty good about it. Ken Crawley has been good. Like, I realize that there have been some moments in the regular season in the last couple of years that have not been the most the most beautiful, the most effective. but he's been in position, making plays on the ball, playing physical, and it sounds like that's happening in practice down on Airline Highway, and then you get into a couple of games, and certainly last night I thought he was good. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was excellent. Now, obviously, they're going to need Lattimore. That's your guy. You got to have your number one corner, but there may not have been there probably weren't three bigger question marks on this team than number two corner entering, and I don't hate the options, quite honestly.
Yeah, I don't either. They definitely played well last night, and if they're getting anything from that defensive line, I think the corners can hold up. They run a lot of cover 2 man. They run a lot of cover 1 robber, which leaves your cornerbacks 1-on-1, and they're going to have to win their matchups. And I think they feel confident in that with Davenport. Davenport flashed last night to me. He's a big, strong, athletic guy. And then obviously we know with Cam Jordan, I think he's hungry to get those sack totals up. So I think he'll have a better season this year as well. So I think the Saints defense is probably their best part of the team. Honestly, they lack a little bit of depth on the defensive tackle area and maybe corner, but I think corner can be better than people think. So I think the defense will definitely be better. You
mentioned Davenport, and he is popping a little bit in fall, but it's not. That's never been the issue. Like he was a guy that tested amazingly well. They drafted him on raw potential, kind of gave him a year, and now they're trying to get him into the mix. He can't stay healthy. So when I look at the overwhelming positives from last night, which I think Jameis was absolutely that. I thought that Marcus Callaway was absolutely that. I've thought that Crawley and Gardner-Johnson absolutely have been that. Zach Bone has had his moments. All that's all better news to me than, oh, look, Marcus Davenport's playing good. As long as he's on the field, you figure he's probably going to play pretty good. So he's got big shoes to fill, but I think he's just got to stay healthy at this point. And so that's kind of my biggest, anything else on the positive side before we get to a couple of negatives?
Positive sides. I think their running back room is going to be good. I like what I saw from Latavius last night. I think with him, Kamara, and maybe they let Jones make the roster. I'm not sure, but you normally need 3 or 4 running backs. So I see one of those younger guys making the roster. And the defensive backs, man, I think they're going to be better than you thought. So you hit the nail on that as well.
So the last one I wanted to mention was Blake Gillikin at punter. I think he has been booming the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the hang time is ridiculous. Morstead, I think sometimes people scoff at a punter draft pick. But if it hits, that's huge. And Morstead was unequivocally a hit when they drafted him and was a great punter for the Saints for the golden era of them. Time to move on, get a little younger, get a little cheaper, and I think Gillikin has shown that he's ready to be the guy. So that's another one in preseason I think is good. There were some negatives last night, and I do want to get to that. We'll take a timeout, get to that, and a little bit of LSU quarterback talk. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
I said Chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's Interior Design Consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, Luke, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Play your favorite casino games and sports bet for free. Visit BetRivers.net. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Coming up on a Tuesday edition of Early Line, we recap the Saints preseason game against the Jaguars, look at some lines for Week 0 in college football, and a whole lot more. Join us for Early Line, 2 to 3 p.m., right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A couple of notes on my whereabouts the next 2 nights, if you'd like to join me for any and all of that. Tonight, Pluckers on Nicholson, just off of campus. We'll have sports trivia at 8:30. Get you out of there about at 9:45, about an hour and 15 minutes, live round trivia, sports questions. Come on in, get some cold beers, eat some wings, do some trivia. We do it every single Tuesday, and I'll be out there at 8:30 tonight. And then tomorrow, Jeremy and I kick off the Tiger Zone. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. The Ed Ogeron Show will be at from 7 to 8 on Eagle 98.1, and then we will follow on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, from 8 to 10, taking your phone calls. This is the time during the week. If you got phone calls, you've got questions, we take them from 8 to 10 on Wednesday nights, and that will start tomorrow after the inaugural Ed Ogeron Show with Chris Blair and Ogeron tomorrow. So looking forward to that. We'll be right here in this studio, but again on Eagle 98.1, and we'll be on YouTube as well. So join us for any and all of that. Back to the Saints, though. I thought there were a couple of negatives last night. One, very obvious on the injury front. You know, seeing Troutman go down really bummed me out, coming off on a cart. That's a guy who was such a good athlete, such a good fit in this offense with what the Saints do with the tight end. They've had so much success. Not even, I mean, obviously Jimmy Graham's just a freak show, but they've plugged some other guys in there that have been productive over time, and I thought Troutman would be the next guy up now that he's got a full year under his belt and a real training camp. He goes down, so not an opportunity for him to finish out his preseason strong. He did have an X-ray. It was negative. Went in for an MRI. Goes in for an MRI today. We'll see how that goes, and hopefully he can get back out on the field sooner rather than later. So that was a bummer on the negative side. And then, Jeremy, I want to get your thoughts on this. Latavius Murray looks slow to me. He looks a step slow. At a certain point, every running back gets there. Now, it's the preseason. Some of the veterans, like Murray, who's been around a long time, don't put as much into the preseason. But I kind of think he may be fighting for a roster spot, and I just don't think he's looked great for two games.
Yeah, obviously he had the fumble week 1, didn't really look too explosive, and then last night really didn't have any splash plays. But I think they like him. It's really, honestly, with the veteran guys, it's with the GM likes you, you're going to be on the roster. It really doesn't matter how good the younger guys play. they're going to be the younger guys who have to prove themselves, and you're the veteran who knows how to do it. So I think that's kind of where Latavius is sitting right now. Obviously, Freeman's an older player as well, so it's really just up to the GM. Like, I think if you ask me, Jones has had an incredible preseason. He pops, he has speed, he knows how to make guys miss in open space, which you're going to need. So we'll see how they play it out, but I definitely agree with that sentiment on Murray.
Murray took that screen pass last night in the first quarter from Winston. He had some space. He ran up into one of his linemen and just fell down for like 3-yard gain when there looked to be some real room out there. He just didn't look good. And to your point, I'm with you. Tony Jones Jr. from Notre Dame looks like he's got speed. He's got some explosiveness getting to the outside. Certainly game 1 against some lesser defensive players rather than game 2, he had more production. But I just look at that and I go, look, we know we got Kamara. We know we're good right there. What's our second option going to be? Like you said, Devontae Freeman's been around a long time, and Latavius Murray, yeah, he's been productive for him, but get Jones the ball. That's where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I don't mind that, and I think we talked about it on the break. You kind of got a little sinister in you when you're a head coach and a GM sometimes. You got to just put the best guy in there and take the emotions out of it. And I think right now that's the case with the Saints running back room. I think the youngest guy in the room actually may be playing the best right now. Now, rather they're going to give him actual reps against real competition in that week 1 game. I seriously doubt that. But if it was up to me, I'd continue to give him more reps and see what he can really do.
I'm asking you to do something impossible here. We should speak about something you don't know, but just give me your thoughts on this. Is it possible that Latavius Murray is just kind of trying to get his feet wet? He realizes it's a long season. I don't need to go crazy right this second. But my thought would be, this guy might beat me out. Like,
Yeah.
what would be going through his mind?
Yeah, I really can't go through his mind, but I've seen guys go through the motions in preseason. I've seen guys say they hate preseason. I've seen guys take themselves out of preseason games. I've seen guys, on the sideline, with dip in their mouth and sunflower seeds, really not taking it serious at all. So I've seen it from both perspectives, and the other extremes where every play matters in the preseason and guys are really trying to, make their name out there. So, but just watching Latavius play, it looks like he's not going all out, like just, if it's 4th and 1, I got to get this yard. I don't see that right now, but we'll see, man. We'll see what the Saints like him. He's their veteran leader in that running back room, so we'll see what they do.
You got 7 years of getting popped from September through January. Maybe sometimes you're thinking right now, hey, it's August. I don't need to be slamming up into linebackers who are trying to make the Jaguars team. Maybe here it is what it is. It looks a lot worse trying to do that than it does if you're a corner who kind of plays off a little bit and then they run the ball and you can't even really tell that you're loafing when you're taking the football and you don't really want to get popped. This is total speculation on my part. When I watch Jones run, I think one thing. When I watch Murray run, I think something else. So it's interesting. How much stock should I put into the fact from last night that the Jaguars stink?
A lot. A lot. Their roster just isn't good. The way I look at teams, the way I look at Super Bowl teams who win a lot of games, you're normally going to have a really good quarterback. We don't know how good Trevor can be to this point. And you normally got some Pro Bowlers or some all-pro guys on that team, and I really can't point to any on the Jaguars right now. I can't – it's like, hey, that guy's going to make an all-pro team right there. Really just on the defensive side or the offensive side. I look at the receivers, running backs, offensive line. It's really – I'm struggling to name some guys who are really, really good at football on that team. So when that happens, normally you lose a lot of games.
And I think there's something – I was thinking about this as I was watching last night. I was going, maybe this is the perfect team to play in the preseason. They're not very good. You're in your home stadium in a controlled weather environment. It's a practice just ramped up a notch against a team that's not very good and maybe doesn't have every single person on there. And that's a good landing spot for Jameis to go out there and go 10 for 11 and Callaway to make some plays and your defense to get a little confidence. You're not out there running with all pro wide receivers. You're dealing with guys who are bottom of the barrel in terms of elite level players. Maybe it's just a good day to get some confidence. But on the flip side, if I'm a Saints fan, I'm looking at it going, how good are these guys playing? Is everyone going to do this to Jags? Are they going to go 1-16? I don't know.
Yeah, I think especially when you play the game that the Saints played week 1, you don't care who it is out there. You just want to get that taste out of your mouth. Well, when you lose a game and you turn the ball over 6 times, it doesn't matter who's on the field next. You just want to get out there and play better, and that's what they did. So once you get this taste in your mouth, you want to just keep stacking this up, keep playing well, keep progressing, and try to peak when week 1's rolling around. And I think that's what they're doing if they leave Jameis in there.
Cuts down today and we get into the final week, and you make the final cut next week as you get ready to put 53 out there and play your first game. What is this week like in an NFL locker room?
Yeah, it's normally the weirdest week, especially during training camp, because it's guys you've been battling with. You wake up 5:36 in the morning, you're there till 10, 11 at night, and you wake up and do it again the next day, and you've been doing this for weeks on end, feels like, and then you never see that person again. There's so many guys that I've gotten a chance to be teammates with, never seen them again in my life after they get cut, and it's just a dynamic that you have to just learn to grow with the NFL. It's just how the business rolls, but it's definitely not a fun week to be a part of, especially if you're one of those guys at the Hinge roster and you got a chance to make the team. You're just, walking on pins and needles because you really don't know what's next.
Always some of the best content for Hard Knocks, which is my only experience with the entire situation, as once again the 33-year-old insurance guy who doesn't know anything about football. But I thought a good landing spot for the Saints last night. And again, while I think the Jaguars are terrible, I do think that the positive that you saw are some things that should be taken seriously and should really be a positive for this team moving forward. So we will get some reports down from New Orleans over the next couple of days, see if we can get Cat Terrell, maybe Luke Johnson to jump on and talk about the way this roster's shaking out. And we'll see when Sean Payton does pull that trigger and say, hey, that's the guy. And, of course, we want to see what the deal is with Adam Troutman's injury as he gets some results on that here in the next couple of days. So let's take one more time out in this first hour and come back. Gerard Landry, brother to Jarvis Landry, but also a near 2,000-yard receiver with 18 touchdowns at Southern, and a guy who played in the NFL. So excited to talk to Gerard Landry. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We're recapping Saints-Jags Monday Night Football from the Dome. Matt Flynn joins us. Hopefully you will as well. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing out hour number 1. Still plenty to get to here in hour number 2. It's our pleasure now to be joined by Gerard Landry. Gerard was a star at Southern, had a little bit of time in the NFL as well, and his younger brother Jarvis made some plays in the purple and gold here, and now doing so for the Cleveland Browns. Gerard, we appreciate some time. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Man. It's an honor. Pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's all ours for you you joining us here. I want to ask you first about your time as a Southern Jaguar here in Baton Rouge. You had nearly 2,000 receiving yards, 18 touchdowns in your career at Southern. What was it like to be a Jaguar here in Baton Rouge?
Man, it was a indescribable feeling to be a Jaguar, man. Just the culture from the Southern University fans, and being able to play at a HBCU, and especially at a high level. So, man, it was a life experience, and not only, did it turn me into the person that I am today, just, things that I went through on and off the field at Southern University.
Describe to me what the Superdome's like for the Bayou Classic.
Oh, man, I think it may be actually better than the Saints game. My personal opinion. Just because you have so many people, coming, not only the Jaguar Nation, but also the Tiger Nation coming from North Louisiana, under one roof. Pack the house out, sell out the entire Superdome. So, I mean, it's an unbelievable experience.
The first thing I noticed when I met you, G Money, is the competitive fire that you and Jarvis have. Talk to me about that. Where y'all get that competitive fire from? And then did you really beat up on him during his childhood? Tell me how bad you used to do him.
I think the competitive nature came from, I was always a hooper. I was a basketball guy. And, once I was introduced to the game of football, I was in 10th grade, so it was kind of new to me. So I know that I had to work hard in every aspect if I wanted to be, one of the best. So that's what I always tried to, install in Jarvis. Even when I was at Southern University and he still was in high school, during fall break, I would bring him up to Southern. That way he worked out with, the college guys. So he was ahead of his time for sure, and I think the little beat up part was just kind of, the tough brother they love, and I think it eventually paid off, being that he's in a great position right now. He's making great plays, on a national scale. So.
I want to take you back to Southern one more time. Tell me what it's like having Pete Richardson as a head coach, and what did he mean to you?
Man, Pete Richardson meant the world to me, because he coming from where we came from, and single mother home, he was like a father figure to me, and I think that sometimes coaches' efforts sometimes get overlooked. One thing that I told a lot of guys, it was an honor to play for Mr. Richardson. And one thing that I noticed, he worked just as hard as us, because when it was time for us to get up at 5 a.m. for weights, Coach Richardson was already at the facility watching film. And even when we would come from study hall at 9 p.m., we had practice that evening and come from study hall at 9 p.m. Coach Richardson was the last coach to actually leave the facility. He still was watching film. So, man, just seeing that and the preparation that he took to get us ready each and every week, that was amazing.
Chatting with Gerard Landry about his time as a Southern Jaguar, obviously older brother to Jarvis as well. Jarvis was such an interesting player for me to cover because he was so intense and just so physical at a wide receiver position. A lot of people think is more of a glamour spot. He was kind of getting down and dirty and liked to do it that way. Was he always like that, or did you kind of bring that out on him because he had to work hard to compete with you?
Yeah, I think I kind of brought that out of him because, I remember the first time he came to Southern and, we went through the ladder and things of that nature and put him through a workout. He actually threw up. However, he never quit. So from that day forward, I kind of knew that, Jarvis was going to be, in a position that he is in it today just by, his preparation, the hard work, his determination. So I think, him training with me at an early age and getting the experience college before college, kind of took his game to another level and the way he saw me prepare as well.
What do you make of his Browns team this year? They're getting a lot of preseason expectation. That could be one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I think the expectations are high. I just think that if they're able to, got two good running backs, good receiving core, Baker, has developed into pretty solid quarterback. So I think they can put those pieces together and, they can go very far along in the playoffs and maybe have an opportunity to win it all.
Let me take you back to the LSU days. What was the favorite game that you got to watch Jarvis play in? Talk about that game for me.
I think it was a game that you guys played Auburn. That was a game that it was going back and forth. Jarvis made some tough catches in that game, and then towards the end, he caught a crossing route from Matt Berger and broke down the sideline and dived for the pylon and kind of ended. And I know you had a great game that game as well, rushing the ball. So I think that was one of my favorite games. Also another one that I could reflect back on when his freshman year when the Tigers played Alabama in Alabama and went down and beat Alabama in Alabama. That was a great game as well.
So you've been able to see Lutcher St. James for years on the high school level. You've seen the Bayou Classic and played in that. You've seen Jarvis play LSU, Alabama, and then you've seen obviously some games of the NFL in your time, whether it's the Saints, you being out there, and then Jarvis playing for the years that he has. What's the most intense atmosphere of all those that you've seen?
Tiger Stadium. Tiger Stadium by far. Yeah, I never forget, just being in the stadium, man, the intensity that the fans bring and the energy that they bring is unmatched, So Tiger Stadium is definitely the best stadium that I've ever been a part of and a game that I ever attended, games in Tiger Stadium for sure.
How you feeling about Juice and Odell being back together? And you think I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think they both can make the Pro Bowl this year. Are you feeling that good about them? What you feeling about the duo again?
I do feel that it's great for them to be together because they're continuing to push one another just as if they did while they was in college. I do think with the expectations that they have and them spreading the ball around, I think they both could be first ballot Pro Bowlers. That's my honest opinion, just based on, what I've saw this offseason, the work that they put in, as well as a few preseason practices that I've attended.
And how are you feeling about your Southern Jaguars this year? You think they won the Bayou Classic?
Of course. Like that's we prepare the entire season just for the Bayou Classic, so the Bayou Classic is our Super Bowl. So, you could go the whole season, win 2-3 games, but the most important game of the whole entire year is the Bayou Classic. So I'm definitely rooting for the Jaguars, and I definitely think we're going to pull it out.
Gerard, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and best of luck to everything. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
He is Gerard Landry, former Southern Jaguar wide receiver, and brother to Jarvis Landry. Enjoyed chatting with him, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, man. I love G Money, man. I've been knowing him since I was in high school, just on the recruiting scene with Jarvis. And he's been around, man, been a great older brother to Jarvis and just a great role model to have. So shout out G Money, man.
A lot to get to here in the second hour. If you missed anything in the first hour, you can catch that all on demand. We chatted about the Saints for the majority of the hour in the first and second segments, and then talked about the new rule that LSU will require either a vaccination or a negative test within 72 hours to attend football games this year. Any and all that on demand at YouTube or 1045ESPN.com. You know what time it is when we come back after this break. We're going to do the last Meet the Freshman of the show. 5-star basketball project, 16 years old, ditching college altogether. What do I think that means? Some rookie quarterback stuff and some college football point spreads. All that's coming up in hour number 2 on a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill right here on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Landry Lawyers. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Tuesday, Hunt and Hill. Loads to get to here in the second hour. We're going to, of course, meet the freshmen here very shortly, but we're going to talk NFL rookie quarterbacks in the next segment. We saw Trevor Lawrence last night, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. Who's in the best landing spot? Who's got an uphill battle on their hands? That's coming up next. And some really interesting college football lines at 1:30 that have moved a significant amount. Some relate to LSU, some are in-state, and certainly want to get to some of that as well. But for one last time, let's do it.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
Matthew Langlois, meet the freshman. Matthew's a safety from Catholic Point Capee over there in New Roads, Louisiana. I've spent a little time in New Roads in my day. See, number 15 player in the state of Louisiana last year, number 36 safety in the country, and nationally number 467. Langlois is a really, really good athlete. Ran incredibly fast track speeds in his time at Catholic Point Capee. He was the running back and a safety on that team. And was a guy that had an interesting recruitment. Early on, had offers from Navy, Wake Forest, Virginia, Vanderbilt, Northwestern, Mississippi State entered the ring there. And then he committed to Kansas State in August of 2020. In the middle of all the shutdown and the nonsense, LSU came with an offer a couple of months later. Notre Dame jumped in the mix. But Matthew Langlois in October of last year commits to LSU. First, I'll kind of talk to you about kind of the player that we've seen in a crowded safety room. Again, really good athlete. Not quite as strong and filled out as you would be to play safety at this level quite yet. But this is a guy who gives me a lot of energy, like Duke Riley, like Deion Jones, like Russell Gage. One of these guys who was lower rated from around the program, who's going to come in, is not going to complain, who's going to practice hard every day and play hard. And you hope that at the end, they find some playing time later in their career. They're not going to count on Matthew Langlois to do very much at all this year. But if he turns out like some of those guys late in their career, you've really got something.
Yeah, he's super athletic. I think that's the first thing you see, especially watching him at practice and then watching his high school highlights. The kid's extremely explosive, especially for a guy at his size. So I definitely see him playing special teams early on in his career, being a guy that can run down on kickoffs, being a guy that can run down on punt, try to blow up some plays and really make some plays that way. But we're just so stacked in that secondary room, man. It's going to be hard for him to find snaps early on in his career.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Todd Harris is in his last year at LSU. You look at Jay Ward could play another. You look at Major Burns could play another. You look at Sage Ryan coming in. You look at Jordan Tolles, who's got a couple of years left. It's a crowded room at the safety spot. But again, this is a guy who is going to relish the opportunity to play at his state school close to home and is not going to pout if he doesn't get playing time in the first 3 months of the year. So that's kind of where he is in terms of this program, but I also think that he's got a chance to be an impact guy at his time. So the last member of the Meet the Freshman crew here, as we've done it for 2.5 weeks, is Kimo Macaniole. Say it, Jeremy.
Kimo Macaniole.
Nailed it. Unbelievable performance by my co-host. Kimo Macaniole was a late out of this class, an interior offensive line player, guard, maybe center, from Niceville, Florida. 3-star player, number 66 player in the state of Florida, number 31 on the interior of the defensive line, nationally ranked number 441. His recruiting process was busy. He was a guy who had a lot of offers from the Florida area early on in his recruitment. Mississippi State jumped in, Missouri jumped in, Texas A&M jumped in, but he was a Florida State commitment as of the summer of 2020. And then LSU jumped in a couple of months later. Ole Miss jumped in. And then some smoke started to come that things just weren't great at Florida State. And LSU was making a push to sign some guys on the interior offensive line. And January 1st of 2021, he jumped in, signed in February, and he enrolled this summer. Macanioli's undersized right now, but he's a pretty good athlete. And I think somebody they think that they can mold into an interior offensive lineman. It's 6'4", 285. We'll see. Probably hope to get him up to the 305, 315 range. That's 20 pounds of muscle. They need guys to come in after this crew leaves. Right now, you have Liam Shanahan, who is going to be moving on after this year. Austin Deculus is going to be gone after this year. Chasen Hines going to be gone after this year. Ed Ingram's going to be gone after this year. You're going to be missing a lot of guys off the front. We'll see if Cam Wire comes back, but they're going to have some guys that are pumped into this pipeline that can play. They're not asked to play right now because everybody came back thanks to the COVID year. And Kima Makaniole is going to be in that number. Charles Turner is certainly in that number. There are a lot of guys. Marlon Martinez, some younger players that, again, not going to be asked to start this year, but hopefully are ready to go when their number's called next year.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time as the one kind of question we do have for the offense is the offensive line, and so they're trying to find depth anywhere they can find it. Now, next year is a whole different question. Yes. We're gonna be trying to fill some holes next year, but I think right now, yeah, definitely get this kid with Moffitt, get him in that strength and conditioning program, put some weight on him. I definitely can see him being in this offensive line rotation next year and really playing a lot of snaps this year. This year, I don't know as much as he'll probably not play much, but next year he can definitely put his name in the ringer for a starting spot.
Jump on the scout team and get some Neil Farrell, some Glenn Logan, get a little Mason Smith in your life. That'll get you ready to play. So that's our run through Meet the Freshman. I hope everybody enjoyed that at the top of the second hour. We did it for 2 weeks. If you enjoyed any of that and want to go back and listen, you can always find it on YouTube. It's always in the same spot, the beginning of hour number 2. And that's our run through this freshman class at LSU that I think's got a chance to be a very good one. Speaking of freshmen, I found someone who's not going to be a freshman anywhere ever, and that's Tyler Smith. And this is something I wanted to transition to. And Jeremy, kind of get your thoughts on. It's not something that we've spoken about thus far. Tyler Smith is a 5-star basketball prospect who is 16 years old. He's 6'9". He's a wing, super athletic, and obviously very highly thought of. He's from New Orleans originally, but his family moved during Katrina to Houston, so that's where his roots have been. This is a guy who could go anywhere he wants. He's a top 20 player in the country. Offers from Kansas, Baylor, Houston, LSU, and he's going to forgo all that to go play some professional basketball with the Overtime Elite League. The deal is reportedly, as he said, worth 7 figures at 16 years old. You pull yourself out of the high school ranks, and you go start making some money to go develop your skills as a basketball player. First, I'll just kind of ask you, what are your thoughts on that life decision? Understand everyone's different, but what do you think on as an overall process?
I think if the option's there and it's available for you, I think the option should always stay there and be available. You look at guys like Luka, who's been playing professionally since he was 15, 16 years old, and you look at all these soccer players, the Ronaldos and Messis, they don't go to school. They go and play soccer or whatever their given trade or sport is. So if you're good enough in a field and you're good at the top people in the world in that field, I think you should be able to pursue that dream. And school isn't going anywhere. I'm sure there's learning programs that he's got to do while he's still playing to get his degree and things of that nature. So if the kid's good enough to play, let him play.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So the second part of this is people say that this is going to kill college basketball. I've talked about this on various shows on this station as things like this have happened. Guys have gone to Europe. Guys have sat out. Saw James Wiseman at Memphis play 3 games and then stop, and he was lottery pick. And people say it's going to kill college basketball, and I just don't believe that to be the case. Yeah, it's great if Kevin Durant shows up and plays a year, and that's really fun. And Zion at Duke before he blows his shoe out, it's really fun to have that. But there was a time when the best players in college basketball stayed for 3 years. Therefore, the most known players in college basketball stayed 3 or 4 years. Shaq is the example right here. And I think it'd be okay for college basketball if some of these one-and-done guys didn't want to play, and you had guys who built a 3 or 4 year brand as not necessarily elite pro basketball players, but great college players. And people gravitate to that. That's just one part of this equation. The other is people are going to pull for their team no matter if Ben Simmons or Cam Thomas show up here or if you're going to build a legacy based on Daryl Mitchell and Garrett Temple, who were here for 4 years. And so that goes for Georgia or Oklahoma State or USC or Michigan. If your team puts on that shirt, whether they're 4-year guys that don't necessarily play NBA basketball and go play overseas, or Zion, you're just going to pull for him. So I think it's great if kids want to bypass college. I also think it's great if they want to come for 1 year, be a star, fly on charter jets, play in Rupp Arena, have a chance to go to the tournament, and live that life as opposed to bailing for the 7 figures immediately. To each his own. I just don't see any reason it's going to kill college basketball.
No, I think that's a really just dramatizing the situation. College basketball isn't going to go anywhere. And if you just look at the tournaments year in and year out, the teams who are older with juniors and seniors normally beat up on these super teams with freshmen. That's just normally what happens. And so I think that's going to continue to happen. The teams with chemistry and who've been playing together longer, who's got a chance of being in the program longer, they're going to win a lot more basketball games over time. And I think it's not going to water down the college game at all. I think it's going to make it better. It's going to make it more competitive. And people also, there's probably only in every recruiting class, probably 2 or 3 guys that can maybe play NBA that early on. So to say that there's going to be, 30, 40 guys every year signing these 7-figure deals, I just think it's a stretch.
And I think more so maybe even than a lot of football guys who have, it's just tough for a freshman to come in and go and become a star. So you're here for 3 years, and that's how you build your brand in college. In basketball, the star shines very bright, very short. But Zion and the guys who are going to have this option can come in and sign a little NIL deal for some cash. Again, not all the 5 stars can do that, but the ones who are going to give some thought to really cashing in, I think can. And it'll be another feather in college basketball's cap.
Yeah, definitely. I think guys, they want to play on that big stage. You kind of saw how much Zion took advantage of being on that big Duke stage in his career, kind of, not really being on the national scene. And then the second they start playing national televised games and that star, like you said, shine bright, it just blew him out of this world. And I think kids are going to see that and really not pass up on that opportunity, especially if the NBA says you have to be 19 to enter the NBA. Guys are going to want to go play on that big stage and really get their name out there. So I don't think it's going to ruin college basketball.
You love the NBA, right?
Yes.
Name me, maybe you can. I'm just trying to prove a point. Name me 3 G League teams.
I can't.
I just personally, my thought would be flying charter jets and playing against Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, and Clemson over in the ACC is better than going to play for the Sioux Falls, whoever it is. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Now, money's money, and that's always going to speak very loudly. Just a matter of how loudly does it speak and how loudly does it speak in the NIL route. But again, I think people continue to come up with reasons why the college sports is broken or will fail or is this or is that. And I sit here and I look at it and I go, I don't think so. I think that it continues to evolve and change, but I'm going to show up in the PMAC no matter what. So that's kind of where I am on the entire situation.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that same sentiment as you. They bleed purple and gold. Whatever your school is, you're going to support your school no matter what. You're going to support your alma mater. I don't see it changing. Maybe we'll see down the road. Maybe, a bunch of guys stop going to college basketball or whatever, but I just don't see it happening.
NFL rookie quarterbacks, specifically one I think is really going to be set up for success, and one I think's got a bumpy road ahead. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
In the sunshine, everybody loves the sunshine.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Join me, Jimmy Ott, and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee, just off of Nicholson. Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Rookie quarterbacks, always an interesting segment this time of year. Saw one last night, Saints-Jags game. He just lost a weapon, as it sounds like. Travis Etienne, unfortunately, out for the season with the injury that he suffered last night, a Liz Frank fracture. So not going to be playing. But I wanted to kind of kick around those rookie quarterbacks here in this segment. Talk about the one that you think is in the best landing spot and the one that you think is in the worst. So we'll start with positive stuff. Who do you think is really set up to succeed early in their career?
I think Trey Lance is in the best situation right now. Just that team from the Super Bowl, a lot of those guys from that Super Bowl roster are still on that team. They have a great defense, obviously a good offensive line, one of the best tight ends in all of football. They have a great run game for him to use the play action off of, and obviously a great player, a great person calling the plays in Kyle Shanahan. So I think Trey Lance is probably in the best position. He's flashed to me the most out of all these guys this preseason. The way he bounced back after that interception in week 2, and then to go down and throw 2 touchdown passes. I like what I'm seeing from Trey.
Look, I'd like to be, kind of go against the grain here and disagree and fight. I think this is the answer. First of all, when I went to the Saints 49ers game a couple of years ago, I was so impressed with Shanahan's play calling. They were drawing up stuff that was absolutely unbelievable, and had the Saints just running for their lives that day in the Dome. So I love his ability to call plays for sure. Their offensive line, they spent some cash on it. And you talk about signing Trent Williams to play left tackle, one of the best in all of football, bringing Alex Mack to be your center, who's been a stalwart at that position for years now in the NFL, Mike McGlinchey at the right tackle spot, who was an elite prospect coming out of Notre Dame. So obviously you love that. And then how could you not love George Kittle to have that, guys, for a young quarterback? Now, the question is, how much football do you expect to see from Trey Lance this year?
If I was Kyle, I'd throw him in there right away, but I know that's not going to happen. He showed me enough thus far to trust that he knows, and everything you hear about him reports, he has the most hours logged in that iPad watching film, so that's what you love to see. But I think Jimmy G starts the year out. If he starts playing bad, I think he's going to be on a short leash. But I definitely see Trey finishing the season.
And maybe that's a good part of being a good landing spot. You're not thrust into the dogs the first week. You got a guy who's won some football games, who's understood this offense, who's playing in front of you, you can watch and learn. I don't see anyone else that's even really close in my mind to this comfiest spot. Now, who's in the worst spot?
I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence here for several reasons. Number one, I wasn't too high on the Urban Meyer hire, and I'm starting to see that just as these preseason games.
Internet was buzzing last night for a preseason game.
Yeah. But, I mean, it goes to show. I mean, if they go out there and blow the Saints out the water, then he can change that narrative. But I just see them struggling to win football games. I think, making NFL players do one-on-one drills like they're fighting for their lives, like they're in high school or college or something, I think it's just archaic way of thinking. And then, obviously, just the way he's just coming down on guys, I just don't think NFL players are going to respond to that. And obviously the roster leaves a lot to be desired. So, yeah, I'm going to go Trevor. I think he's just going to be put in an impossible situation this season to win a lot of football games.
It sure didn't look great last night. And I want to just go, it's a preseason game, who cares? But it seemed a little discombobulated. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride for them for sure. I think that's probably my answer too. Now, I could play devil's advocate here and come up with another name, which I'll do here in a second. But I think Lawrence is my answer to this question. I think Justin Fields is going to have to put up with some turnover in that organization before he gets the keys and it's running smooth, if that ever happens. Obviously, he doesn't have to start the season. Andy Dalton's the guy that the Chicago brought in. You'll know this about me as we'll continue to talk, is that I hear a lot of Chicago stuff in my Twitter world and in my radio world because of the Cubs. And no one has anything positive to say about that ownership group that has been milking a 1985 Super Bowl for 40 years. No one has anything positive to say about Ryan Pace, their general manager, who botched the Trubisky pick and is now being put in position again to try to do it. Now, they give him a little bit of credit for going to get Khalil Mack, but they didn't have anything around him on the offensive side to put a functional offense out of there, and most people put that on the feet of Matt Nagy, who had that solid defensive team a couple of years ago that they were good enough on offense with Mitch to make it and look like a contender into the postseason. But the offense has been atrocious there for decades, and the brain trust that's put that together for the last handful of years is still there, and nobody there has any confidence in them. So that defense is still good, but I don't love anything else that's going on around that organization for Justin Fields. So yeah. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player, and the fan base is really excited for him, and he may not have to start right out of the chute, and they may get so ticked off with Nagy and Pace and Dalton that they're all run out of town in 1 year, and then the new regime comes in and Fields is their the guy that they go with. But right now, I don't think it's pretty.
Yeah, that's an angle I didn't even think about. I was just thinking more X's and O's, but I definitely see that now. You feel it when a coach is on the hot seat, the players feel it. Something is going to happen. And I think Justin is walking right into that. When you lose playoff games by field goals, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And the Bears fans really want that quarterback that they haven't had since the '80s. Feels like. So, yeah, he's walking into obviously a historic organization, and he has some big shoes to fill. So it's going to be a lot for him. But I think Andy Dalton definitely starts the season. I think he plays, and if he doesn't play well, then they're going to have to put Justin in there fairly quickly.
And we were talking about Chicago fans and how they can turn pretty quick. And then I think about where Zach Wilson's headed, and I'm like, well, They love you right now in the preseason, but that tends to turn. It has on some quarterbacks up there in Jets land. Obviously, Mark Sanchez came out and was playing well, got to the 2 AFC Championship games, and then the bottom fell out of that thing. They've run some guys through there since. Shipped Darnold out of town. People think that was an issue with having Adam Gase calling plays that didn't have any ability to develop the quarterback spot. What do you think of Zach Wilson's chances?
I'd love that they have one of the best young tackles in football, Mekhi Becton. If you haven't watched him block, go cut that dude's highlight tapes on. It looks like a clip right outside the Blind Side movie. That dude's just moving people around. So he definitely has a stalwart at his left tackle spot. And I love Elijah Moore, the first-round pick that they take. That kid is super explosive. I think he can make a lot of plays, and then they get Corey Davis from the Titans. I think they got guys that can make plays. It's usually going to be if Zach can be the guy that they thought he can be. I call him Walmart Aaron Rodgers. That's what they kind of want from Zach Wilson. So I think it's a better situation than the Jaguars, but how much better? I don't think it's much better. I think they probably win 4 or 5 games.
Well, they didn't surround Darnold with much of anything. You go get an old Le'Veon Bell and kind of send him in there, but it's like I think the Corey Davis acquisition is good. You go take a pick on Elijah Moore. You look at running back, and they bring in Tevin Coleman. These are guys that you figure can make some plays for him, and then you give him his left tackle. On paper, that looks better than most, but he does have to go out there and do it right out the chute. So here we go. I don't think Mac Jones is going to play much football in September. That doesn't appear to me to be a Bill Belichick way of thinking. But how quickly does he supplant Cam, if at all?
Man, Cam, as much as I want to get on Cam, I think Cam is actually playing really well right now. He's sitting in the pocket. He's making the throws. He's doing all the things he kind of did his MVP season, and I know he's hungry to really change that narrative on him. And this is probably, he knows, his last chance. If he can play well this year, then obviously there's a lot of money on the table for him. But if he doesn't, then it solidifies that narrative that he's not a starting quarterback anymore. Teams really aren't going to build their franchise around him at this point in his career. So this is Cam's only shot. But if you really maybe pick, I think Mac Jones finishes the season.
Do you think Cam has it in him to become Fitzpatrick or Tannehill or Dalton, to come in and kind of maybe compete, maybe be a placeholder here or there, or is that not in his DNA?
I don't think it's in his DNA. I think at this point in Cam's career, if he has an opportunity to compete for the starting job, he'll take it. Now, if you just pencil him in as a backup and say, look, no matter what you do, like whoever, I don't know who's in Buffalo right now, but Josh Allen's a guy. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Now, if you tell Cam he's a backup no matter what, I don't think he signs up for that. I think that's where he is with it right now.
It's a difficult life realization to come to, but I agree with you there. This is his shot to go do it. I mean, if you prove you can't go to New England and get it done, how are teams going to take a real interest in you and make that kind of financial commitment and that kind of verbal commitment to be their guy? I don't know. Whatever you all think, get in the YouTube chat. Let us know what you believe about these young rookie quarterbacks. I think some interesting conversations to be had, but we agree. Best landing spot for sure, Trey Lance, with a great organization and some real talent around him. Plus, man, I have to start out of the chute. We don't like the future, especially the immediate future for Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville with that head coach and that roster. May not be so great. A lot of college football news today. Some huge news coming in 30 minutes. We'll react to that, as well as look at some point spreads with some teams around the area and with some LSU ties. Won't want to miss that either. It's Hunt and Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, middle relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Nothing worked until Blue Star.
Blue Star worked great on my ringworm, without steroids.
My wife and I have been using Blue Star for years. It's never let us down.
Look for the white box with the blue star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
Hey, y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Cade Wazan inviting you to join me, Coach Todd Black, and Coach Jimmy Roy this Friday night for the Lake After Hours Lake Urgent Care Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show. We'll be recapping area jamborees and catching up with some local coaches as well. It's this Friday night from 10 to midnight on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
About half an hour left here on a Tuesday edition. Got some big news coming in college football. Not unexpected, but big. We'll talk about that here in a second. But first, some early college football lines that have moved a significant amount. I wanted to get Jay Hill's thoughts on a little bit of this. And this first one pertains to LSU a little bit. UCLA opened as a 9-point favorite against Hawaii. That has been bet up to 18 points. Obviously, we know the Bruins return a ton of talent. They've got, a ton of experience. We'll call it that after a losing season. But a ton of experience, and their quarterback is a 3-year starter. It's a week 0 game against Hawaii. Does that move your needle at all when you think about LSU playing UCLA and that line's been bet up 9 points?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not worried about us per se. I just know Vegas sees that everyone's laying that money down on UCLA, so they're trying to hedge their bets a little bit. I think, yeah, people are a lot higher on UCLA than I am at this point. Obviously, returning a lot of bad players isn't impressive to me.
Yeah.
Now, if these guys won a bunch of games last year and all these guys are coming back, then that's a whole different conversation. But a bunch of bad guys coming back, maybe they get better, maybe they don't. That'll be determined this week. But, yeah, I definitely see it why it did, because a lot of people are believing in UCLA and all these good players returning, they say.
You going to be watching that game?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to tune in. I think I'm going to learn a lot about UCLA, just kind of see who they like to get the ball to, if their defense is going to be any good based off of last year. So I'll definitely be tuning into that.
This line does have me intrigued for a number of reasons. Louisiana Lafayette opened as a 14.5-point underdog at Texas in their opener. That game has been bet down to 8 points. Texas now an 8-point favorite over Louisiana Lafayette. I can't see it getting to 7. That's the pressure point, and I don't think that's going to happen. But you can get that at 8. Does that shock you?
Yeah, that's very shocking. I know ULL has been playing extremely well the past few seasons. Their program is going in the right direction, the direction that everyone in Cajun country wants to see. But I think it really shows that Texas is really falling off the radar, man. Like, what is going on with Texas? And then now they're trying to come to the SEC, but you're only an 8-point favorite to ULL. So I actually kind of like that. I think ULL could possibly upset them with them losing Sam Ellinger. So we'll see.
Game 1 of the Sark era. Levi Lewis backs the senior quarterback for ULL. That's at 8. Almost blind, I would have to take Texas, but we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, the Cajuns went up to Iowa State, who was a top 25 team last year and is a top 10 team by everybody this year, and took it to them last year in the opener. So interesting, to say the least. This one is bigger than I thought, and it's because one team is just not as strong as they had been previously. But it's still one that I'll keep an eye on. Louisiana Tech, a 30.5-point dog at Mississippi State. That game is now down to 23.5. Mike Leach, the air raid squad, but Louisiana Tech just not quite what they were a couple of years ago. Lost a lot of players off that team that was the best they've had in a few years. But 23.5, large number, but come down in Starkville.
Yeah, people must not be high on the Leach offense. They must think that La Tech can cover. I think the 30 is probably more accurate. I think they're going to be passing the ball around the yard on La Tech. I think they can cover that 30. But we'll see. We'll see if they have Costello out there and if Leach can get that air raid rolling. But I think they can blow out La Tech.
Uptown Showdown. OU coming to the Big Easy to play Tulane. That game's been bet up. It was a 21-point spread, now 26.5. Look, Tulane's program has made some serious strides over the last couple of years, but there just becomes a point where one team is so much better than the other, and their style of play such that they're going to run this thing up. And with Spencer Rattler out there for like the first half, they're going to score a lot of points. Do you think 26.5 is enough?
Yeah, I think they can win by 4 touchdowns for sure. I think that Spencer, the way he's been playing, the way he's come into his own, this is his 3rd year in this offense. They're going to score a lot of points. I'm kind of intrigued to see what the over-under is for this game. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I'd say it should be in the 60s somewhere, but we'll see.
It'll be higher than that. But we can tie all this together in this way. All those are some non-conference games that have some significant point spreads. I think those days are coming to a close. And this is the big news I've been teasing here for a couple of segments. Later on today, the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten are going to announce an alliance together. Now, what that means, I don't exactly know yet. What I think it means is that they're going to start scheduling non-conference football games against each other to try to create more viewers in non-conference games to increase their television contracts. The SEC, with now adding Texas and Oklahoma, can kind of run its show as we've got this footprint, even our non-conference games, everybody's going to watch. Here you go. This to me means we're going to schedule each other, Pac-12, ACC, Big Ten, in the non-conference, create more high-profile games, create USC, Ohio State, create Michigan, Oregon, create Clemson, Penn State, those games more often so that we can sign a television deal that reflects that and we can make more money. And essentially what it means to me is that you're going to start cutting out the mid-major team far more often than not, and losses are going to be de-emphasized as they are in the NFL, and have never been in college. And that's something that is important to some people, the sanctity of the regular season. When they expand the playoffs and expand these conferences like this, teams are going to start losing football games. That's just part of it. And I think that's probably my biggest takeaway from it. When you hear Pac-12, ACC, Big Ten announcing an alliance, what do you think?
I love it. I love seeing matchups you normally don't get to see, kind of like the UCLA-LSU matchup. I would have never thought when I was in school that LSU would be playing UCLA. So I love to see these cool little matchups. And I think without the college playoff, you never get these matchups because teams are going to be too scared to take that loss early in the year and then have to battle and make a case to make the 4-team playoff or just make the BCS bowls like they were back in the day. So I think it's great. I think I like the expansion, and then I do like these new matchups. I think it's going to be good for college football.
I would agree. As someone who makes all their opinions based on how it affects LSU's ability to win championships, I don't think this hurts LSU's ability to win championships. It hurts LSU's ability to go undefeated when you add Texas, Oklahoma in, and you still very likely have to play Alabama, Auburn, Florida, maybe go play Georgia in an SEC championship game. You know, not all at once, but those games exist. But when you expand the playoff and have what turns into basically 2 large-scale conferences, you start losing 2 games, and they're by minimal points on the road. They're going to get you into the expanded playoff, and then you got a chance to go play for it. It creates intrigue longer into the season for me, and I personally enjoy when the basketball team plays 3 bad games, and it's okay. You just rebound, try to get in the tournament, and make a run. When the baseball team can't get out of their own way and starts 1-8 in conference play, like they just did, it's not over. Just put the wheels back on the cart, cobble it together, and find a way to get into the postseason, go to Oregon and win a regional, and have a chance to go win 2 games to go to Omaha. I realize that rewarding excellence is a good thing and that rewarding mediocrity cannot be, but I also want to maintain some interest and some relevance and some passion, some intensity into November if you played a couple of bad games or your quarterback went out and got hurt and you didn't have a backup that was ready. All that to me is better to me, the viewer. I love it when you've got to go in there and win a game, against Florida or Alabama. That's fine and dandy and creates a ton of excitement and energy, and when you win it, it's great. But losing, it's so dejecting, and it ends your dreams and your goals.
Yeah.
I'm more on the page of let's keep more teams interested and in it as long as we can. That can't be bad for television revenue.
No, I don't think so at all. And I think the biggest thing that people say is going to take down and water down college football. It's not going to mean as much. If a team like the LSU Tigers in 2007 loses 2 games and still finds a way to win a national championship, to me, that's a more beautiful storyline than Alabama and Clemson going 16-0, rolling through everybody.
And then doing it again the next year, and the next year, and the next year.
Yeah, to me, those are the storylines as a fan that I'm more intrigued to see. I want to see that team that has 3 or 2 losses, that may be our 12 or 10 seed, make that run in the playoff and get to a national title and see what happens. That's what I want to see. And I think all these new matchups and new things that the NCAA is trying to do, I think I like them. I mean, it's better than it was before, and I like the direction that it's going.
Does part of you feel for the little school, the little man who is not going to have these bye games to support their athletic program?
No, I don't feel bad for them at all. I think that's life. Life isn't fair. So, you just got to continue that narrative because, everyone's not going to be a Power 5. Everyone's not going to have millions of dollars dumped in their budget for their football program. So it's just not how it works.
I love it. Love it. That's how I'm not here for charity for the little man. I love that those schools have opportunities to play in these huge arenas, but the fact of the matter is there's 50% of the people there, and you get beat by 50 and you take your check. It's just not interesting to most people. Now I'm a nerd, so I can go in there and watch the backups play and find talking points for the post-game show, but the vast majority of the fans don't care, and it's all about eyes. It's all about TV, and this alliance is going to, hopefully create a little bit more juice in the Pac-12 and the ACC so they can have a pulse and beat some of these teams so we don't have the same 3 teams in the playoff every single year. But I guess that remains to be seen. Come on back and close things up. Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
(667-8182) or visit us in Baton Rouge, Prairieville, Dental Springs, Mid-City, and now our brand new location in Port Allen, or online, louispt.com.
Hey, it's Cordy Rush. Now more than ever, nonprofits need our support. Gulf Coast Bank is hosting an online auction where 100% of the proceeds go to nonprofits. Auctions in August offer items such as fine dining, sports memorabilia, and gift baskets. To bid, visit auctionsinAugust.com. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you and our community.
Hey, it's Dorian Noka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dorian Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We never step foot in the dealership. Bayou Ford makes it so easy.
Shop BayouFord.com.
Coming up on Wednesdays, Off the Bench, LSU AD Scott Woodward stops by. Plus, the Cajun Cannon breaks down the black and gold. National champ QB Matthew Clayton Flynn hangs out for an hour. And a brand new edition of Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing things up on a Tuesday edition. Some take it or leave it. Let's start with this one. Trey Lance threw 2 touchdowns. 49ers won their second preseason game. You taking or leaving that Trey Lance is the starter?
I'm gonna take it. I'll take that, and I think he starts definitely before the 4th game. I think he gets in there fairly quickly to start the season.
All
right. Miguel Cabrera hits his 500 career home run. You taking or leaving? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's no doubter. He's one of 5 players in the history of the sport with 500 home runs and a .310 career average. He's one of the top 10 right-handed hitters who's ever played. He is a first ballot guy. It's not everybody in the baseball world, but he's one of the best hitters of this generation. He's right there with Pujols, Ichiro, and then Trout at the end of it. But yeah, I think Cabrera for sure is a first ballot guy.
Got you. All right, let me ask you this one. Jamar Chase, second preseason game with the Bengals, 3 targets, 3 drops. You taking or leaving? The Bengals should have taken Penei Sewell.
I'm taking that. I've been taking that since the draft. Love Jamar. Want Jamar to have a ton of success and would love it if it was with the Bengals. I think things are going to work out just fine after a rough preseason start, and people are saying, "Oh, well, he quit on his college team, and that's why he can't get the." He'll be fine, but I still want him to take Penei Sewell to keep Joe upright, and that's the most important thing. So, yeah, I think everything's going to be fine, but I'd have taken Sewell for sure. Let's see. MLB.com says the Dodgers, the best team in all of baseball, after they are 7-2 in their last 9. You taking the Dodgers, best team in the league?
I'm leaving that right where I found it, and I'm rolling. You know where I'm going with this. 10 straight, baby. 10 straight.
You're such a homer.
Dude, this is our first 10-game win streak since last season. We got another one back-to-back seasons. I love to see it, man. We're going for 11 tonight against the Braves. I'm tuning into my Yanks, baby. Let's go, Yankees.
Such a homer. Read me a question.
All right. Let me go here. Okay, NFL.com rated Russell Gage as the number 8 player on their breakout list. You taking or leaving? He breaks out this season with the Julio Jones departure.
I'll take it. I would have never guessed he would be sticking around the NFL. I just never would have guessed it. You probably paid a little bit more attention to his career at Redemptorist. He was do everything for them. They were not good. It was not a good program at the time, and he was just the guy that did everything on the field. They gave him a late scholarship into LSU. He made some plays late in his LSU career when there were guys that were far more highly touted that were on the roster at the time. And then he gets his spot in the NFL, and he's still sticking around making plays. It's been amazing to watch.
Yeah, you love to see it. All right, I got another NFL guy for you. Todd Gurley was an All-Pro 2018. He played with the Atlanta Falcons last year and started in 15 games. He's still unsigned. You taking or leaving? Todd Gurley's done with professional football.
I'm going to leave it. I think somebody signs him when these cuts happen. Somebody picks him up, or even if there's an injury and he sticks around, he's ready to go. It's not like he's been hurt. He ran for 3.5 yards a carry and very limited carries last year, but he was available for Atlanta essentially the whole time. I realized the Rams cut him to save a bunch of money. I didn't think he had much left in the tank, but, I mean, it's not like he's just falling off a cliff here. I would think he could play. I'd rather get your take on it than mine, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think he definitely plays another snap. Just a guy that scored that many touchdowns in one season. Obviously, the catalyst for that Rams team that made it to the Super Bowl. He had a phenomenal season that year. But I think it's something with arthritis or something. I'm gonna have to talk to him. Todd's one of my good friends, so hopefully he gets another chance for sure.
You doing anything from 12 to 2 weekdays?
Yeah, that's actually a good guy to hit up. Yeah, I need to hit that dude up.
Look, he was one of the best SEC running backs I've ever seen play. There's no question. The combination of size and speed was unbelievable, and had to try to stay healthy, but got hurt there at the end. Rams still took a shot on him, and he became an all-pro back, like one of the best in football, if not the best in football. I just don't know how I feel like he could have fallen off a cliff so quick. I know that position is very difficult, and it just takes a toll. But, man, it's not – he was an all-pro 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's what you hate to see, and I can tell you more than anyone, you take some licks, man. You got 11 super athletes trying to take your head off every play. Sometimes you're gonna end up on the wrong side of it. So running back's probably one of the more tougher positions on your body, just because dudes are literally, you get the ball, the whole stadium's looking at you, everyone on defense, all eyes are on you, and dudes are trying to take your head off. So you're gonna take some licks, but it's just part of it. But I hope Todd gets another chance.
That's why I'm kind of sitting here looking at what I've watched over 3 weeks with the Saints, and I'm going, put Tony Jones Jr. in there, get him a roster spot. He's fresh, he's young, he can play. That would be my guy. So we've had an awesome show. If you miss any of it, on demand, 1045ESPN.com, or it's always on demand on YouTube. You can find the entirety of the show. Started thing out talking about the new LSU rule about Tiger Stadium, when you got to have a negative test or proof of vaccination to get in. That's the first segment of the show. A lot of Saints in the middle of that first hour. We closed out the first hour. And then we met with the freshmen, as we do at the beginning of every single second hour. Talk some NFL rookie quarterbacks, some college football lines. What is the new alliance between the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten mean for college football? That was all there in the second hour. And then, of course, we close it out with Take It or Leave It. Big Fave, Marlon Favright, going to join us tomorrow on the show. Got some big things coming later up in the show with some great guests. We're excited to get to the rest of the week. If you're looking for something to do today and tonight, Pluckers, 8:30 tonight, sports trivia. I'll be hosting 8:30 to 9:45. We do 5 rounds, live action trivia. There's a first and a second place for every round. You can win some Pluckers gift cards, watch some sports on TV, hang out, have some fun, get some delicious food. So come on, check that out with us tonight at Pluckers at 8:30. And then tomorrow, which we'll promo this all day during tomorrow's show, we're starting the Tiger Zone. It'll be every Wednesday night, Jay Hill and I from 8 to 10 on Eagle 98.1, the sister station. It'll follow the Ed Ogeron show. So Chris Blair and Ed Ogeron will have the Ed Ogeron show on the LSU Sports Radio Network on Eagle 98.1, and then we'll hit the airwaves for 2 hours. We're taking your phone calls during those 2 hours. So get involved, and we want it to be caller-driven. The calls are going to matter on that show. We'll carry the content load during this 2 hours during the day. Wednesday night, it's all you and your phone calls, so we'll look very much forward to that. Everybody have an awesome day. Matt's driving you home 3 to 6. Jimmy from 6 to 8. Next, it's Mario and Musso. They'll have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.